What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking Smack for September 12th, 2020. In what arguably might have been one of, if not the best episode of Talking Smack since they brought the show back a few weeks ago. And I can't say one of, just because there's only been 4 or 5 episodes, I think. I believe only 4. I think The Miz hosted the first 2, and Xavier Woods has hosted the last 2. But it might have been the best of the 4, honestly. This was a great show. They had AJ Styles on with Joseph Park. Joseph Park was on the show with AJ, which was amazing. Nikki Cross was her usual bubbly self, but she discussed her #1 contendership victory on SmackDown, addressed Alexa Bliss. They also had on The Miz and Morrison, who offered some breaking news, which I'm sure you've probably heard about by now. And they also had on Paul Heyman, who really said nothing. I was going to say nothing of note, but he also barely said anything at all. But I'll get to that momentarily. This was a great episode. And it really is worth bringing up how, with Talking Smack, in the last 4 weeks alone, a lot like 4 years ago during the show's original run, the show was already 10 times more newsworthy than Raw Talk is. And I usually enjoy Raw Talk. It's a solid show. I'm not a big Charlie Caruso fan. I think Kayla Braxton is much better. Xavier Woods is also a much better co-host than R-Truth. Xavier Woods can be entertaining, but he can also be straightforward. And that was what I was kind of worried about with the show once The Miz left last week when they brought on Xavier Woods, who was supposed to be the co-host the entire time, but he couldn't make the first 2 episodes. So they had The Miz on there instead. I was worried that he wouldn't bring that same straightforwardness, if that's even a word, that The Miz did for those first 2 shows. And he does, just in a different way. The Miz does it, and it's kind of annoying, obviously on purpose. Xavier does it and makes a lot of great points. Even Kayla Braxton was kind of pushing the limits a little bit with this episode, which I appreciated as well. I think Xavier really brings the best out of her. But yeah, Raw Talk's been back now for over 3 months. And this show is usually decent, if not pretty good. But Talking Smack so far, they've announced the major trade. They've announced matches for pay-per-views. They've had that Raw, the Raw, electric, natural, organic back and forth between Big E and The Miz 2 weeks in a row. It's been a great show. You should not be sleeping on Talking Smack. The new episodes are uploaded every Saturday morning, not Friday night after SmackDown, which would make more sense instead of 205 Live, but whatever. They go up every Saturday morning, which isn't a bad idea either. But yeah, this was great. So to kick off the episode, they had Xavier Woods wearing his Up, Up, Down, Down shirt, which you can buy now on uudd.com, or it might be uuddshop.com. Either way, the Up, Up, Down, Down channel, the YouTube channel, now has its own shop, which is cool. On a website, all of its own, not only on WWE Shop, which is cool. Even though I'm pretty sure it's in some sort of not relationship, but like they do work with each other. Up, Up, Down, Down, despite what many people may think, does work alongside WWE. It's basically a sub-channel of WWE's. Kayla asks Xavier right off the bat, how is Big E doing, from what you know, being one of his best friends. He says he's a tough guy, and he does tease that he will be back sooner rather than later. They also quickly discuss the ending to the show that saw Roman Reigns show up and win again, and beating King Corbin and Sheamus alongside Jey Uso on SmackDown. So their first guest of the show is AJ Styles, and not only AJ Styles, which would have been entertaining enough, but also Joseph Park. The former Abyss, Chris Park, what have you. I fucking love this. I'm so happy they're incorporating, seemingly on a regular basis, Joseph Park into AJ's act. He doesn't have to be on every episode of SmackDown, but I don't think anyone would complain about getting more Joseph Park on the Blue brand, whether it's SmackDown, TalkingSmack.com, YouTube, whatever. The guy's awesome. So AJ even says, listen, Sami Zayn is not the rightful Intercontinental Champion. He left. He went home. He didn't come to work. I want a championship. I should be the Intercontinental Champion. And he mentions how, it's Joseph Park's stats and analytics team that's going to get AJ back to the Intercontinental Championship. So Xavier says, well, didn't you have Joseph Park's stats the first time? Like, what's going to make that any different? And Joseph Park's just crazy. He's like, you don't need to answer that, AJ. You don't need to answer that. And they also bring up, before I forget, AJ's like, oh, Kayla, you're wearing glasses. I've never seen you wear glasses before. You look a lot smarter. And Joseph Park, they bring up how he wears glasses, and then he takes off his glasses, and AJ's like, oh, no, put those on. Oh, God, you're ugly. Like, put those things back on. It was so funny. So AJ says, and Joseph Park says as well, that the stats show that AJ Styles will be the next and rightful Intercontinental Champion. And Styles brings up again how Jeff Hardy cheated to win that championship initially with the knee brace, and Woods brings up, well, you were attacking that injured knee throughout the match. So if it wasn't injured, then what were you doing? Then AJ's like, I was attacking a knee, not because it was the injured knee. Basically saying that it wasn't intentional. So this whole thing was great because he claims that Jeff Hardy didn't need a knee brace. He was perfectly fine. He just used it to beat AJ. So he's going to work with his legal team, that being Joseph Park, to get Hardy in another one-on-one match for that Intercontinental Championship. He got it on SmackDown, but the match was interrupted by Sami Zayn. So who knows if he would have won? Probably not. Had Sami not interfered. So they welcome on Nikki Cross next, who says that it's going to be the fall, the autumn, the winter, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving of Nikki Cross as the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's very excited, coming off her number one contender's Fatal 4 win on SmackDown over Tamina, Lacey Evans, and Alexa Bliss, to earn herself another title shot, which I wasn't too fond of, but she's obviously very excited about the opportunity. They then have to address the 1,000-pound elephant in the room here, the actions from Alexa Bliss. She turned on Nikki Cross on SmackDown. Everyone's going fucking heel. Everyone's betraying everybody. Cedric Alexander betrayed Apollo Crews and Ricochet on Raw. Sasha Banks got betrayed by Bayley last week, and now it's Alexa Bliss betraying Nikki Cross here on SmackDown. So she does say, Alexa Bliss is still my best friend, despite what happened earlier on in the show. She has been poisoned, she said. Poisoned, thankfully not literally, but mentally and psychologically poisoned by the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And I need to save her. That's what she says. But for right now, though, her sole focus is on winning for the first time, rather, the SmackDown Women's Championship. And when she went for it the first time, I'm not sure if she said it here, but she did say it in an exclusive for WWE.com after SmackDown went off the air. She goes, yeah, I had my opportunities over the summer, but I think I was more excited about the opportunity to go for the championship, which she was here, so that makes no sense. But she goes, I let that cloud my judgment, and it distracted me to the point where I fell short of becoming champion. Now I'm determined, I'm serious, I'm just ready to win that title. And of course she won't, but whatever. So The Miz and John Morrison come out, interrupt Nikki Cross, while she was speaking, to reveal some breaking news, as you've probably heard by now on Twitter or whatever, on social media, that The Miz had Mandy Rose traded to Monday Night Raw on USA Network, having his own reality show on Raw, being tight with the USA Network executives. That was how they explained this. He's not a WWE official. He's not an authority figure. He has no power. But he was able to work something out with the USA Network, who do have power, to get Mandy Rose on Raw. Now, when I first saw this on Twitter, I'm thinking, the fuck? Why would they do that? Like, that seems incredibly random. You have a draft supposedly coming up at some point. Bayley needs challengers. Why would you break her up from Otis? But I was worked. Brother. So it was all part of the storyline. Whether she stays on Raw remains to be seen. I'm not sure. They did say traded in the tweet. Miz did not say that here on the show. Traded would imply that SmackDown is getting someone in return. Then again, they said the same thing about Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross last year, going to SmackDown, and that went nowhere, so whatever. But yeah, Mandy Rose is now on Raw, because they're trying to help Otis, they say. They're trying to ensure that he becomes a world champion. When you become Mr. Money in the Bank, it's supposed to be a stepping stone to bigger and better things. Not eating your fucking lunch out of the briefcase as a lunchbox. They say that Mandy Rose has been a distraction for Otis this entire time, and that they're merely doing him a favor. And clearly they were coming across as, snarmy here and just patronizing Otis and whatever. So the whole thing was great. And they were arguing back and forth with Kayla, with Xavier, and they're saying, we got loopholes. As part of the contracts. We may get the contract soon enough. And you know what? This may lead to a situation where Otis gives up the briefcase to get Mandy back on SmackDown. I think it's a dumb idea on the surface. Maybe I'll buy into it eventually. When I first heard it, I'm thinking that's dumb. But at the same time, Otis is not exactly lighting the world on fire as Mr. Money in the Bank. Is it a waste? Absolutely. They should have never put the briefcase on the guy to begin with. I'm a big Otis fan. I think he's great. Should he have won the briefcase? No, he should not have. And if they did, the very least they could have done was build off that, allow him to maintain momentum, but he was taken off TV, and he hasn't done jack shit since May. It's been 4 months. They gotta move the fuck on. Cash in on Roman and lose and have that be it. If they give it to Miz or Morrison, I like that idea, but they're also not going to cash in successfully either. So I don't see what purpose any of this serves, but whatever. They welcome on Paul Heyman, and he's silent for the first minute or two that he's on here. They're asking questions, Kayla and Xavier are, about, the Jey Uso Roman Reigns match. Does Jey Uso have something over Roman being his cousin more so than Paul Heyman would, even though they just joined forces? They're asking a lot of questions about Roman and Jey. Paul Heyman says nothing. He goes on to tell a family story about his uncle with big ears and a judge or some dumb shit, and he merely does that to get them off track. Kayla and Xavier, being great journalists here on the show, steer him back in the right direction to address Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. He doesn't answer any of the questions, and just as he's about to, the show goes off the air. And clearly Paul did that on purpose, because he's like, oh, you went off the air. Look, I would have answered your question had you just done it quickly. He wasn't going to answer the question. That's why he fucking ignored it. Paul Heyman is a master manipulator. The guy knows what he's doing. So that was kind of a waste of time. But they did it for a reason. Whatever. Not exactly worth seeking out, but it was funny on Heyman's part to not say anything about anything that went on. Why even agree to be on the show in that case, But anyway, I thought this was a great episode of Talking Smack. Check it out right now on WWE Network, the September 12th edition of the show for 2020. Check out all my other Talking Smack reviews in the description box down below in that link. You can check out the playlist for all my Talking Smack reviews in recent weeks. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Hit that little bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. And check out my SmackDown review if you haven't already, also right here on the channel. From last night for September 11, 2020. So until next time, guys, have a great one. I'm Graham G. Matthews. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch your ass down the road.